It's Friday. I'm not even supposed to be here. But when Franz Wagner makes a statement like that, makes two statements like that, we come on the pod and we talk about it. What Franz told the world against France. It's time for Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is August 2nd, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, Franz Wagner is undoubtedly playing with a lot of attention, a lot of eyes, and a lot of pressure on him. The statement he made as Germany defeated France. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. With summer coming to a close, the NFL on the horizon, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Pick your favorite dunk. We'll put it in the poll in the comments. Get in the comments, everyone. Pick your favorite dunk. Because for 2 hours and really for the entire day, because, Canada-Spain was a really fun game, but really the statement of this penultimate day of group play in the Olympic basketball tournament belonged to Franz Wagner. That is all everyone's talking about. We are roughly 2 hours as I'm recording this from the end of that game. And I am still getting flooded with retweets and likes from tweets that I sent during the game. We are still hearing more and more and more from national and international outlets about what and who Franz Wagner is. So pick your favorite dunk. Was it Franz Wagner going in transition, switching to his left hand midair and dunking on top of Victor Wembanyama in the first quarter of Germany's 14-point win over France? Was it the third quarter when Franz Wagner batted away Nicolas Batum, who even at his advanced age is still a very good defender, batted him away, got downhill, saw 3 white jerseys in front of him and did not care, dunking over the entire French team, dunking over, frankly, the entire country in a true road game, and putting an exclamation point on a 26-point effort in Germany's big win to clinch one of the top 2 seeds in the quarterfinals of this tournament. What is your favorite dunk? Better yet, let's talk about the statement that those 2 plays made. Because Franz Wagner comes into this Olympic basketball tournament with a lot of baggage. If you go back and read the comments, I read the comments. I try to, at least. Maybe I shouldn't, but I do. Every time I talk about Franz Wagner and Team Germany, I inevitably get somebody who will tell me that this is not something Franz should do. He should be focused on his own game. He should be focused on improving his shot. He should be focused on the Orlando Magic and not the national team. And I will always tell them, look, I'm never going to tell someone not to go represent their country. It is extremely meaningful to them. Franz and Mo will tell you how important winning that World Cup was for them individually, for them as a country. This stuff means a lot to these players. I'm not going to tell them no. And in any case, I would always rather have them play organized basketball at a high level against top level competition than just playing pickup randomly in a gym. They're going to learn a lot more playing this way. And we'll talk a little bit about what things Franz has learned. But undoubtedly entering this tournament, Franz has a lot of baggage with him. He needed to make a statement. He needed to make a claim. He needed to silence all the doubters. He needed to silence everyone who doesn't believe in him, who only remembers him for Game 7. Look, we're Magic fans. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a Magic fan. You probably care about Orlando. You probably care and watch this team enough to listen. Thank you for doing so, by the way. We know who Franz Wagner is. We know what he's capable of doing. We know how important he is to this team. But even among the national media who only look at the stats or don't always watch him, that Game 7 gave everybody pause. A 1 for 15 showing in the biggest game of biggest NBA game, certainly, of his life. Even Franz, after the game, understood that was a failure. Plain and simple. He did not do what he needed to do. And as we left Cleveland, I give him a ton of credit for this. He took full responsibility. He said, I've got to be better, and this is going to sit with me the entire summer. You could probably go back and listen to some of those episodes in early May, and we all asked ourselves, okay, you did. It happened. It's done. It's in the past. What are you as a player going to do about it? As Franz Wagner, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond to this moment, to this failure? Like, let's be real, failure. Perhaps the reason why the Magic did not beat Cleveland and get out of the first round. That is something he has to live with. That is something that he has to silence doubters and prove to himself as much as the world that he is beyond it. And look, scoring 22 against Japan and 17 against Brazil, that's all well and good. France is a better team. France is a medal hopeful. They are the home team in this tournament. This was the first game, the game we all had circled on our calendars to say, this is a game where we need to see Franz Wagner step up. This is a game where we need to see Franz make a statement and show us how he's gotten better. His first basket was a spin move into the lane for a layup going up against Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama. His second basket was that aforementioned dunk. His third basket, if I'm not mistaken, was a dump down for a dunk as well. His fourth basket was a kick out three from Dennis Schroeder. All the things that I have been telling you that Franz Wagner is doing better and looks like a better player with the outstanding questions about his shot after shooting 28% from three last year. Doing that against Japan, doing that against Brazil, doing that in non-Olympic play, in exhibition games, even against the U.S., doesn't mean a thing until the pressure is on him. And so for him to come out and score 26 points, for him to come out and make these statements, make these highlight plays that everybody around the world is talking about today. That is the kind of statement that Franz Wagner could only make in this tournament. Because, yes, we're going gaga over the highlights. We should be replaying those highlights. Put them on YouTube. I don't know if you can because the Olympics video rights are weird. Replay them as many times as you can until the IOC takes them down and says, oh, you can only watch it through us. Watch them as many times as you can. But also remember, Franz is the one who's showing significantly more patience off the dribble. Manipulating defenders, keeping defenders where he wants before going up and scoring. He's the one finishing through contact and looking stronger, frankly, on both ends of the floor. Absorbing contact defensively. And I will say it again and again and again. I think Franz Wagner can be an all-defensive team type player this year. I'm not joking about that. He continues to defend at a very high level. He is doing all the extra things, and he's not doing too much. He is not taking this time to say, I'm the man, I'm taking over. He's fitting in if you give him the chance. If you give him the ball and let him cook, he is making the right decisions and being smart about when he attacks and how he attacks and the shots that he takes. And yes, he has shown signs that his shooting is improved. I wouldn't say it's back. We'll see what it looks like in October. But his three-point shot, he's not afraid to take them like maybe he was toward the end of last season. Franz Wagner continues to make a statement that is not just about him as a scorer, as important as that is. He's making a statement that he is an all-around player who makes his team better with him on the floor, who makes everything better because he has made himself so much better. And those highlights are your ticket, your gateway to understand this. In the biggest game of group play, in a pressure game against a quality opponent, France is a good team. I know Evan Fournier is a little long in the tooth, as is Nicolas Batum. They're a little shaky with their point guards, but they got Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert, and Franz was unafraid to attack either. In this kind of a game, Franz made a statement that he is a better player today than he was on May 5th. That game 7 is not what's going to define him. That game 7 fed him to be better, to step up in these exact kind of moments and play his best on the biggest stage with the brightest spotlight. And that's all the Magic want to see. That's all Magic fans should want to see, and why he plays in these games. Of course, these games aren't going to fully answer the questions. They're merely hints. The reality is there is a lot of pressure on Franz Wagner. We'll talk about the pressure that comes with being a max player coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With more than 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it is easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. For your next listen, be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories in sports from the local experts who know their team best. If you want to hear about the biggest stories from baseball, NFL, college football, whatever it is, you'll hear from it from Locked On hosts like me on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel. It's can't miss analysis, opinions, and news all day, every day on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Us Magic fans, we know the value of Franz Wagner. Like, we watch him every day, and yeah, there are still some questions and everything, but we know who Franz is. What we saw Friday afternoon, it's an elevated form. It's like, look, Franz Wagner is better. Like, I want to make this really, really clear. For those who think he hasn't worked on his game because his shot isn't a little bit better, he is a better player today than he was at the end of the season. He is a lot better. We know who Franz Wagner is, but undoubtedly, even the way we perceive him, even the way his supporters perceive him, changed the moment he put pen to paper or DocuSigned. I don't know how he signed the contract, but when he agreed to that max contract with the Orlando Magic, everything changed about Franz Wagner. Everything changed about how we perceive this player, how we analyze this player, how we break this player down. Narratives are powerful. And while it is certainly earned and is certainly a huge accomplishment that, again, Franz Wagner has earned, there is a status that comes with being a max player. And there is a pressure that comes with it too. There's been a lot of ink spilled on the Magic's decision to sign Franz Wagner. I read an Athletic article today talking about the biggest surprises of the summer, and one of them was, I'm surprised the Magic didn't play a little bit of hardball or ask Franz to go prove it and wait till next summer to sign him to a max deal, which our friend Josh Robbins of The Athletic said, no, you kind of have to take care of your guy. If you believe in him, if he's a core guy, just take care of him. Don't play games with it. That's certainly not how Jeff Weltman does business, as far as I understand it. There is definitely a different national conversation that goes on with Franz. The analytics community's obviously always kind of been in love with him. The stats love Franz Wagner. But now he's expected to do more. When you are a max player, you are expected to be an all-star, a 20-point per game score, a this, a that, or the other thing. There is a status that comes with being a max player that isn't just Mo Wagner trying to keep his younger brother humble. And certainly the way that last season ended, and in some respects, the way last season went, made people think he isn't at that level. Look, there's no getting around it. Every conversation that we've had about Franz Wagner this summer has started with he shot only 28% from three. What happened to his three-point shot? I have had, personally for me, I have had to deal with all kinds of theories on why Franz can't make a three. From, his shot is too flat, to, his legs are tired, he shouldn't be playing in these tournaments, he should be resting. All kinds of theories. People thinking there is a little hitch in his shot. Looked pretty smooth today. Especially when he hit that long three at the top of the key in the second quarter. Who knows? Most of it's probably mental, and maybe Franz has worked through that. But regardless, there is an expectation now that Franz plays to a higher level. That Franz does more than what he has done already. A max player does bring with it pressure. And as we began to look at this tournament, at the Olympics, at the offseason, as we began to look at this, every little thing that Franz Wagner was doing was under the microscope. A bad shooting performance said it's going to be game 7 all over again. Him not developing a mid-range jumper and diversifying his game is concerned that when we get to the NBA, that he's going to fall short in the playoffs. All of these things are part and parcel of signing that deal. He's earned it. He's earned that pressure. Pressure is indeed a privilege. But now there's a newer level of scrutiny on him. And that pressure has been evident in this tournament. Not only is Germany a medal favorite, certainly a silver or bronze medal favorite. They will most likely face Team Canada in the semifinals, with the U.S. on the other side of the bracket, assuming the U.S. beats Puerto Rico on Saturday. There is a lot of pressure on Franz to perform, and a lot of pressure on Franz to be worthy of the contract. People are still having a hard time getting their heads around Franz being a $38 million a year player. That's not the number you need to worry about. 25% of the cap. That's the number. He's got to prove himself worthy of that. And that obviously has started with how we talk about him at the Olympics and how everyone has talked about him at the Olympics. When you're a max player, you are a national story. Even if the national media still wants to try and ignore the Magic, or the Magic aren't front of mind in the story of the NBA, Franz is a national story now. And everyone, especially because Game 7 was really their only exposure to him on the big national stage in the NBA, everyone is wondering if he is worth it. Magic fans know that answer, that he is. But now he's got to elevate his game. And that's what he's starting to show here with his national team. That's what he started to show on Friday against France. That he can elevate his game. That in a big spot, on a big stage, he can play at a very high level. To be sure, there will be challenges ahead. France is a team on decline. The next round, they are most likely to face Greece. We know who's on Greece, but Franz had his breakout game at Eurobasket 2 years ago against Greece. in a semifinal match. He is very capable of continuing to have big games and to do so under these pressure situations, to lead his team or be one of the leaders on his team to a title. And let's not forget that aspect of all this. Yes, Franz has only one NBA playoff experience under his belt. But this is a player who has played in humongous games with the biggest stakes, with championships on the line. And as someone who has come out successful, winning that medal in Eurobasket 2 years ago during that breakout tournament, winning the gold, winning the World Cup last year, and again, competing for and likely winning a medal in the Olympics. All of this is going to help Franz deal with the pressure and be successful when he returns to Orlando in September. But undoubtedly, the narratives, the stories are different. Franz can't have another 1 for 15 showing in Game 7. I'm sorry, he can't escape that. I want him to, but he can't until he proves otherwise. There is pressure that he's going to have to deal with. And so far, he is showing us that he will indeed overcome it. Let's set the table for next week. I'll tell you who Germany's going to play, what some of the scenarios are, and what the schedule is next week for the Olympics. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Look, it is late summer. It's early August. Things are starting to calm down in the sports world. There's a little rumbling, though, out in the distance. It's not the hurricane. It's not the thunderstorm that's currently starting to stir as I'm looking outside my window right now. No, it's football, the NFL, college football on the horizon. And FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want, whether you're waiting for the NBA or waiting for football to start. All you have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. If you're looking to bet on the Olympics, which you can do, the USA currently 35.5-point favorites for Saturday's game against Puerto Rico. That game might be over by the time you listen to this. Looking ahead, men's basketball gold medal winner, Germany is third at plus 900, USA minus 600, Canada plus 800. So if you're looking to make a bet, in fact, let's bet on the silver medal winner. Forget the gold medal. Germany, the favorites to win the silver medal at plus 190. They're going to be in the opposite bracket to the U.S., so they don't have to deal with the U.S. or they're most likely to be in the opposite bracket as the U.S. They won't have to deal with the U.S. until the gold medal game. If you want to get in on this action, all you have to do is go to FanDuel.com. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Today was meant to be a quick episode, so we're going to be real brief here. The next time we see, so obviously we'll see the U.S. play Puerto Rico on Saturday. That is an 11:15 a.m. Eastern time tip-off. So I'm sorry if you're listening to this late. The next time we see Germany will be Tuesday, and in all likelihood they will be playing Greece in their quarterfinal matchup. The U.S. is going to be playing, assuming they beat Puerto Rico. The U.S. will play Brazil. They get the 2 third-place teams as the top-seeded teams in their group. They'll be on opposite side of the brackets. We don't know who their potential semifinal matchup would be. But I believe the schedule is Tuesday for the quarterfinals for the men, and then Thursday is semifinals, and then Saturday, next 1 week from Saturday, is the gold medal game. The women get the Sunday tip-off time. So that is our schedule for next week. Again, Germany is most likely going to be playing Greece. There's a scenario where they could end up playing South Sudan I think they have to lose to Serbia by 2 or fewer points in order for that scenario to play out. But we will most likely see Germany play Greece on Tuesday, and that means a matchup with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, Giannis is Giannis. He's a very, very difficult player, but Greece has really struggled with their guard play. They have really struggled with their shooting during this tournament. That's why Greece is only 1-2 on the tournament. They were able to get in as one of the top 2 third place teams in the group. South Sudan is the other third place team. They're, again, they need to lose by fewer than 2 points to advance to the next round or win outright. If they win outright, they beat Serbia, they're moving on. Germany should be absolutely a favorite. Again, I think I have been super impressed with Germany. They look like a team. Like, to me, that is a big deal in these tournaments. You could tell they played together for the last 3 summers. You can tell they're very, very invested. Look, there's some really good defenses. Canada and Germany have been the 2 best defenses in this tournament. Germany just plays physical. They're big, they're long, they're tough. And they've gotten enough shooting. They have plenty of shooting to spread the floor. But Franz and Dennis Schroeder, because Dennis Schroeder had 26 points in this game against France as well. Franz and Dennis Schroeder have really done a good job carrying this team and just being a constant source of pressure on defenses. This tournament has been super, super impressive for Team Germany. I really can't speak more highly of the job that Coach Herbert has done with Germany and the way this team has come together. They play such a fun style of basketball. And look, this winning a medal is not going to be easy. Like, Greece could easily beat them on Tuesday. The U.S. is obviously the U.S. Very, very good team. Canada is a very good team. They play I was watching the Canada-Spain game Friday morning. They remind me of the Magic with how intense their defense is and just the effort and energy they bring defensively. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a one-man wrecking crew. So there are definitely challenges ahead for Germany. Now, Germany will likely avoid, I don't know if they avoid Canada. They might have to play Canada in the semifinals, but they'll likely avoid the U.S. until the gold medal game. So that sets Germany up really well to be in a medal position, to be in a position to compete for the gold medal. So there's a lot to like about that. This is a fun German team. We've watched this Germany team for 3 years now. They are an absolute blast to watch. They play so hard defensively. They're physical, and they do the right things on offense. Sometimes the offense goes stale. Schroeder over dribbles a little bit. They sometimes don't move the ball to a guy like Franz who's going to make the right decisions. But if I were power ranking this tournament, the U.S. would be 1. Germany and Canada are 2 and 3. Like, I don't know what order you put them in. I think Germany's just been so impressive. Those are your 3-3-0 teams. Those are the 3 teams that are unbeaten at this point. And a Germany-Canada game would be an absolute blast to watch if we get that. Just as a Germany-US game would be an absolute blast. But that's your schedule. Germany likely playing Greece on Tuesday in the quarterfinals. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all for joining me for a special Friday night edition of Locked On Magic. Appreciate that. I felt compelled to come on to the show after the statement that Franz Wagner made, but you can always find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun ways you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can always find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic, and thanks for subscribing there. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. We'll start doing some schedule speculation pretty soon, as the schedule should be coming out here in the next couple of weeks. You can find us there on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. And as always, thank you for your support. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in NBA, if you can't tell. And Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Wright. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.